Howdy, Austin, Texas. Y'all about ready to go out and win an election? Before we talk about elections, I got to talk about something else. First, I want to give it up for the fabulous First Lady of Texas. As everybody knows, today is Valentine's Day. Today is Sweetheart Day. We have some fabulous music to go along with it, it sounds like. But what you may not know, and that is it was on this day, back in 1981, on the Riverwalk in San Antonio, Texas, when I asked Cecilia to marry me. And so this is not only Valentine's Day, this is engagement day for the Abbott family. Thank you, Cecilia. I appreciate your love and devotion. Listen, I want to thank everybody for being here. We're ready for an election, but it turns out I am not the only person on the ballot in the room today, because also we have in the room today somebody that I appointed to the Texas Supreme Court who's on the ballot. He clerked for Justice Scalia on the United States Supreme Court and went on to become a prolific lawyer. He's an outstanding justice on the Texas Supreme Court, and that is Evan Young on the Texas Supreme Court. Evan, thank you for being here. Good luck to you also. But listen, we're here because today, the first day of early voting, we are ready to do what needs to be done to keep Texas red. We need to understand not everyone sees it that way. Did you all see what happened over the course of the past weekend on Saturday, of all things? The person who came to Texas, who was campaigning in San Antonio for Democrat candidates, was none other than Ocasio-Cortez. And exactly. And so she was talking about the need to show the public what Democrats stand for. And we know exactly what they stand for. They stand for these radical leftist policies like the Green New Deal. Listen, we live in the great state of Texas, the state that's number one in production of oil and gas and provides millions of jobs in the energy sector. And we are not going to allow these radical leftists to destroy those high-paying energy jobs for more than 1 million Texans. I am running for re-election to protect our energy jobs in the great state of Texas. And this it's not just energy jobs. If you look at the job sector across the board, Texas is number one in so many categories. Ever since I've been governor, Texas has been ranked the number one state in America as the best state for doing business. The number one state in America for the most new economic development projects. The number one state in America for the best state to start a small business. When you add all these things together, Texas has now climbed internationally to having the ninth largest economy in the entire world. More importantly, however, what this means for our fellow Texans as we gather here today on the first day of voting in this election in 2022, more Texans have a job than ever before in the history of our state. Texas is a great state for employment. But let's go back to these radical agenda items by the leftist Democrats who are trying to win in the state of Texas. They promote things like critical race theory in our schools, trying to redesign the past and redesign the future of our country, and we are not tolerating it. During this past session, we passed not one, but two laws banning critical race theory. We've now banned critical race theory in every subject, in every grade, in every public school in the entire state of Texas. And I wish it ended there, but if you look at these radical leftist policies that people like Beto stand for and that people like Ocasio-Cortez has been pushing, and that is something that's extraordinarily dangerous in our communities, and that is defunding the police. You've seen the consequences of this across the entire country, whether it be in Los Angeles or San Francisco or New York or Chicago. And I hate to say it, in Texas, there's always one city. Always one city. And unfortunately, that city is the city of Austin, Texas. Even Austin, Texas, defunded the police. And whenever you see this happen, it leads to one thing, and that is more crime. The same happened in Austin, Texas. What happened in Austin, Texas was extremely predictable. They defunded the police, and this past year, they set an all-time record for the most number of murders. We as Republicans, and I as your governor, said not under my watch will I allow police to be defunded in Texas. In Texas, we support our law enforcement officers, period. And that's exactly why I campaigned on and I signed a law that will defund any city, including Austin, that defunds our police. So we will fully fund our law enforcement officers in Texas. I am running for re-election to make sure that no radical leftist will ever come in and impose a policy that would defund police in our state. But listen, as crazy and radical and dangerous as it is to defund the police, I think we've all come to realize there's another radical leftist agenda item that Biden has imposed, that Beto has embraced, and as well as Ocasio-Cortez, that is even more dangerous to our state and to our country. And that is the open border policies imposed by the Biden administration and supported by Beto O'Rourke himself. We've seen the catastrophe here. You know, Trump had this fixed. He did 4 things to secure the border. 1 is to impose revenge in Mexico. 2 is Title 42. 3 is to end, catch, and release. And 4 is to build a border wall. And all of that led to the lowest number of illegal border crossings in decades. And Biden came in and eliminated all of those items, and now we have the highest number of border crossings maybe ever. There were, this past year, almost 2 million people who came across the border illegally from more than 150 different countries, including countries connected to terrorist-based nations. The President of the United States has an obligation to ensure that he secures our country from potential terroristic dangers, and President Biden and open border policies has failed at that effort. Well, Texas is not settling idly by because we have stepped up and done more than any state in the history of this entire country to secure our border. We provided well over $3 billion to make sure that we would be able to do what needs to be done to secure our border, including adding about 10,000 National Guard troops who are bravely stepping up and standing watch on our border, in addition to more than 1,000 DPS officers to make sure that our border is secured. We also are working to arrest and jail people who are coming across the border illegally. And Texas is stepping up, and we are building our own border wall to secure our state. But listen, it's more than just public safety that's on the ballot. Freedom itself is on the ballot this election. You know, when you think of freedom, you think about your First Amendment rights and Second Amendment rights, those that are contained in the Constitution. As I have stepped up and protected your constitutional rights, while at the very same time, people like Beto O'Rourke have been working to take away and erode your constitutional rights. Beto actually came out and said that he wanted to eliminate the tax-exempt status of churches that refuse to bow down to the woke leftist agenda. I will not let that happen in the great state of Texas. To the contrary, I signed a law to ensure that no government official at any level would ever be able to close down our churches and to deny you the ability to go worship God Almighty in the Lone Star State. And you all know what comes after the First Amendment. The Second Amendment. And you know exactly what Robert Francis O'Rourke said, and that is, he said, hell yes, he's going to come and take your guns. When he was running for president, now that he's running for governor, he realized, man, that doesn't sell well in Texas. And now he's saying, oh, I didn't mean that. I support your Second Amendment rights. What a liar. That's just unbelievable. Well, we don't have to worry about whatever Beto said because I have signed more than 20 laws protecting your Second Amendment rights in Texas. Listen, as everybody is getting ready to go cast your vote, what you must do, I just want to leave you with this one final message. And that is, there has never been a year where the difference, policy-wise, between candidates on the ballot has been as extreme as they are this year. We're not talking about different shades of gray. We're talking about cataclysmic differences. And it is essential for first that you understand that there are people who are not like you. You love America, and you love the great state of Texas. There are people on the ballot who want to redesign the United States of America and redesign the great state of Texas, and we are not going to let that happen. We are going to win. We are going to crush these leftist, radical agenda Democrats, and we are going to keep Texas the best state and the greatest country in the history of the world. God bless you all, and God bless the great state of Texas.